Four. A regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the McAllen Independent School District will be held Tuesday, March 11, 2025, beginning at 5:30 p.m. at the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom Administration Building of the McAllen Independent School District, 2200 North 23rd Street, McAllen, Texas, 78501. Items listed on this agenda may be taken in an order other than as shown on this agenda. Unless removed from the consent agenda, items identified within the consent agenda will be acted upon at one time. At this meeting, there may be discussion and action by the board on the items and subjects listed as follows. Now, item 1, call the meeting to order. I have done so at 5:30 p.m. Number 2, please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you, and if you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The speedster there with the pledge. For public comments, we have none tonight. Number 5,
Madam
consent
President?
agenda. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion to move 5E out of consent agenda.
Do I? I have a motion by Trustee Aliceda and a second by Trustee Regalado. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 4-0.
Madam President, I'd like to move we approve 5A through D.
I have a motion by Trustee Aliceda and a second by Trustee Rivera to approve consent items 5A through 5D. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 4-0. Item number 6, instructional services, instructional leadership.
Madam President, we're on 5E.
5E, I'm so sorry.
I confused you.
Well, let's go, 5E. Here we go. Discussion, let me just read it out. Discussion and possible action to retain outside legal counsel as needed. Dr. Gutierrez.
McAllen Independent School District is seeking to enter into an hourly-based contract with outside legal counsel to assist with legal matters as needed. Administration is recommending action on this item.
Madam President, I move to table this item until after executive session tonight.
I have a motion by Trustee Regalado and a second by Trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 4-0. Item 5E will be tabled till after
Closed session.
closed session, yes. Okay, item 6. Instructional services, instructional leadership, human resources, business and operations, and Board of Trustees items. Dr. Gutierrez, item 6A, instructional services. Item 6B, human resources. 6B1, discussion and revisions to policy EIC local. First reading, Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, administration is recommending a change to EIC local that would include UTRGV Collegiate Campus as a dual enrollment campus where summer school grades can be included in the calculations of class rank. Dr. Albert Canales, Chief Human Resources Officer, as well as Dr. De Hoyos will share any more information that the board may have. This item is for information purposes only because it's the first reading. But if you may want to add to this, Dr. De Hoyos, just for clarification on this matter, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. Good afternoon to everyone. For this particular request to include the UTRGV Collegiate Academy in the list of the campuses to be able to, for students to take dual enrollment classes with UTRGV and also those core subjects to be included in the rank for students. These are not classes that are out of sequence. It will be part of the graduation plan. And it's mostly those students that either didn't have a successful grade in English 1301 and they cannot continue in 1302 for the second semester, so they have to repeat English 1301 the second semester, and then they will be behind. So then they will have to take it during the summer, and it would only be that class for right now. I don't foresee any other classes that will be out of sequence.
Okay, that's a first reading. We will still need to bring it back for a second reading for final approval.
Item 6C, Business and Operations. 6C1, Report regarding Facilities Needs Assessment. Dr. Gutierrez.
Ms. Lorena Garcia, our Deputy Superintendent for Business and Operation, will provide information on the facility needs assessments that we're going to be starting very soon. The board approved already for us to conduct this study, and this item is to bring the board up to date where we are with the facilities needs assessment that we're going to be having ongoing for the next several months. And this is an information purposes only item, but we'd like to keep the board informed where we are with this facilities study. Go ahead.
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Gutierrez. As you recall, at a previous board meeting, the board had approved MGT as the highest ranked firm. They were at $306,402 was their offer. We were able to negotiate the same scope of the project for $299,980. And we have since met with them to review the scope of services. These are the tasks that they are to do. They're to be part of the meetings that we have with a Facilities Forecast Advisory Committee, which has yet to be formed. We would need some recommendations as to who the committee membership would be to initiate working with them. They also will provide community outreach, and then as part of the needs assessment, there's several things that they have to include in the report, which is a facility condition index for each one of our campuses, capacity analysis, educational adequacy, technology readiness, safety and security measures, site suitability, ADA compliance, and then they also need to provide facility needs for the future and alternatives. They will be looking at our educational and maintenance specifications and providing recommendations on updates on that. And then any projects that they find that may be for the future, they will provide cost estimates and possible funding scenarios. They will provide a final report which will be presented to the Facilities Forecast Advisory Committee as well as the Board of Trustees. Now, this is what the timeline looks like, and it's over a course of several months. As you can see, there's different phases. There's the project management, the analysis portion, and the engaging and prioritizing. Ultimately, there would be projects that would be developed out of this report, and as a district and a board, we would want to prioritize those for future implementation, and all of that will be included in the monthly report. Their approach is, of course, to make sure that we get started on the right foot and making sure that everybody understands what the expectations are. They are proposing to provide a time frame, keeping the project on track, also quality control and quality analysis, routine status meetings so that there's continuous communication, and we have been communicating with them on a regular basis as of now. And then meet with the leadership to review the results and provide staff training so that team members are prepared to implement any recommendations for improvements in infrastructure and operations. Their methodology involves project initiation and data gathering, programmatic priorities, facilities and educational assessment, enrollment, capacity and utilization analysis, and project prioritization and capital planning. And each one of these sections have different steps that they would go through in this process. Ultimately, we would also want to include the community so that they can provide feedback, crucial input as we develop this plan for the future of McAllen ISD, ensure that all voices are heard. Where do we want to be? What do we know? Where have we been? What have we heard? And what is the best path forward? And finally, in order to reach the community, they will do that through a series of different forms of engagement, in-person meetings as well as virtual and an online survey. They will use a program called Poll Everywhere to create a survey and gather input from our community. So that is, in a nutshell, the process that we will be engaging with them. And as we have more information, we will provide you more updates. Thank you very much.
I have a question. Ms. Garcia, with the advisory committee, who is going to select those people?
Well, we would get guidance from the board as to who or what type of individuals you would want on that committee, and the superintendent, of course, as well.
Okay. So is there potentially an opportunity for us individual board members to make recommendations on community members that might be interested and helpful in that?
Yes, ma'am. Typically, the board president would ask for recommendations, names of individuals, and we would start forming the committee. Of course, the committee would also include school district employees, some essential personnel such as Mr. Trevino, and technology, Mrs. Camilla, and so forth. So there's some key personnel that we would also like to have on this committee.
Okay. And then looking at the timeline, the whole timeline looks to be about 5 months, but the community engagement part, like a little less than 2 months maybe? What could you tell us about the commitment that somebody from the community might be required to commit to in order to?
Well, there would be several meetings, not necessarily with MGT, but with the district. We are looking at maybe a committee for elementary, one for middle school, one for high school, and then another one for the finance component.
Okay.
So they would be meeting as a committee on a monthly basis at least, and then there would be meetings with MGT. So it would be, you know, at least 1 to maybe 2 meetings per month.
Okay. Thank you.
I'd like to see representation from every school, somebody from the community, if possible, from every school, because the people that attend those schools, the people that work at those schools know that school the best. So just since that was brought up, that'd be nice to see.
I would also like to see the meetings held at a time where people can attend, because they are, you know, working people, so I'd like them at a time that is convenient for most to attend, and also a virtual option just in case. So.
Yes, ma'am. We can certainly do that.
Is now that we have COVID and we understand the ability to use virtual meetings, is there going to be, did you just say that? And I was thinking
I'd
of
like
something.
to have it as an option just in case
Okay.
somebody just can't attend for whatever reason, but I still want I don't want it to be the norm, you know, face-to-face is always best, but, you know, just in case, I do want that option available.
And so when we have these meetings, is there going to be, the last time we did it, we had sort of an executive committee type thing, so that the whole committee of 50 people didn't have to meet all the time. There was sometimes smaller meetings. Are we going to try and do it like that too, so that we can make faster headway, because it's really hard to, and also I think it's really important to get people of the opposite mindset, sort of the opposition, on that committee. I think that really speeds things up when you have both sides, you know, giving ideas back and forth. I think that really adds to the committee. You don't want to have the committee, everybody in there that's, you know, so I think that's really important when you're thinking about appointing members. I think it's really important that we look to the community, who was, you know, the opposition last time, who was on the, you know, the other side, and invite them in and listen to their voices. So.
Yes, and the committee, as I mentioned, would be divided in 4 subgroups. So we would be able to meet in smaller groups.
Okay.
Yeah, the engagement of the community in this process is very important. Not only will they be involved in just meetings, but also to conduct walkthroughs with us throughout the district, so that they can see the state of our facilities and be able to have a better understanding of our needs. Because eventually we're going to have to develop a priority list to see how far we can go with that priority list, with what we can qualify for the amount of money that we can borrow without, you know, with maintaining the same tax rate. And so it's going to be important for the community members to go and visit the facilities, the different sites, and help us design and develop a priority list along with our consultants. And that way we can also keep the board informed of those visits and the things that we're finding out, take pictures, have presenters, talk to the campus principals, directors of those buildings to tell us more about the needs of their facilities and come up with a final list at the end. And so that way we can have as much input as possible and also come up with the dire needs of the district when it comes to facilities that we need to fix and upgrade.
How might we navigate if there's a lot of community representation for some parts of the city or certain schools versus others that don't have as much representation?
Well, the nominations would come from you all, so you can set parameters that would limit the number of individuals per campus or per community area.
I think also that kind of would lend itself to what MGT says, what they say are their recommendations are going to be, right? And then the committee would look at it and say yay or nay and do the walkthroughs. I feel like that. So I think it would kind of work itself out that way.
Yeah, we'll make sure that it's pretty fair across the board.
But you also, I mean, in that line, you also want, like, if you're talking about safety and security, you're going to want local law enforcement involved in it versus someone who's into fine arts. They're not going to, you know what I mean? You're going to, I'm sure you're all going to be very selective in who's in what group. So.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's why we want to divide it, because elementary, middle school, and high school have different needs, different designs of buildings, different population. So that's why we need to separate those three committees because their needs are different, along with the finance committee to oversee the cost and how we can be able to come up with that list and the cost of those projects.
We good?
Not to belabor it, but are we going to have a certain website or a certain tab on our website that we can go to?
To give updates. We can give updates to our community
Perfect.
through the website.
Are we good there? I don't know your
There was
presentation.
an information.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We're going to be starting it in about a month from now. We're going to
about
start.
a month? Okay.
We're already starting to talk to the consultants, but
Cool.
to get everything going in about a month or so.
Okay, got it.
Item 6C2, discussion and possible action of the McAllen Independent School District February budget amendment to fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024 and ending June 30th, 2025. Dr. Gutierrez.
We are recommending the approval of the February 2025 budget amendment for the 24-25 fiscal year. Ms. Lorena Garcia, Deputy Superintendent, and for Business and Operations is available to answer any questions. We are recommending action on this item. But are there any highlights you want to make on this amendment?
Yes, I usually go over it. An item of note is we are increasing the federal revenue that is coming into our food service program. And then that 2.1 million is getting distributed amongst the expenditures. So that is being allocated to food service. In addition to that, we are allocating 100,000 from fund balance to increase the budget for fine arts for the marching band so that they can purchase props and equipment, because other school districts are investing 20 to 30,000, 40,000 per school, and we've been investing a little bit less,
10,000.
maybe 10,000.
I think 10,000 per
So
school.
this year we're increasing that, and that's in addition to already about 200,000 that we've given them in addition to what was budgeted. However, that was coming from assigned fund balance, so that did not require board approval. But in this case, it does, because we are pulling it out of fund balance. Any questions on the budget amendment?
I move to approve the budget amendments.
Thank you. Second.
I have a motion by trustee Alisada and a second by trustee Regalado. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. Item 6C3, discussion and possible action on competitive sealed proposal number 2025-421033, McAllen High School Security Surveillance System rebid. Dr. Gutierrez.
We are recommending solicited proposals from vendors for the installation of new surveillance cameras at McAllen High School. Mrs. Camilla, Executive Director of Technology, is available to answer any questions. We are recommending action on this item, and this is a three-part item recommendation.
My only question is, why is it a rebid?
It's a rebid, ma'am, because the first bid had a much larger scope, and when we received the pricing, it was double than what we could afford. So we went back and we pared it down so that we would not have to increase the budget. So this time it is within budget.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve the ranking for selection of general contractor for competitive sealed proposal number 2025-1033 McAllen High School Security Surveillance System rebid.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Regalado. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0.
Madam President, I move that the board approve that the administration begin negotiations with the highest ranked contractor. If the district is unable to negotiate a satisfactory contract with the selected contractor, the district shall formally and in writing end negotiations with that contractor and proceed to the next contractor in the order of the selection ranking until a contract is reached or all proposals are rejected.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Regalado and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0.
Madam President, I move that that the board authorize the superintendent to execute a contract in accordance with the procedures set out in Texas Government Code Section 2269.254 once the contractor negotiations have been successfully achieved.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Regalado and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. Item 6C4, discussion and possible action on competitive sealed proposal number 2025-184-1030, Theodore Roosevelt Elementary School Intercom System. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration solicited competitive sealed proposals for an intercom system at Roosevelt Elementary School. Mrs. Camilla, Executive Director of Technology, is available to answer any questions, and we are recommending action on this item. This is also a three-part item approval.
I have a question. The winning bidder is from Arizona. Who am I asking it to? To you, Ms. Garcia?
She's not here. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't see Ms. Escamilla. So are they going to come down and install it, or they're going to contract with a local vendor to install it?
We've actually done business with them quite a bit before. And actually, Ruben, I think they work with a subcontractor. They have their local
Hello,
subcontractors.
Mr. Trevino.
Ruben.
But we have used this company for this type of project quite a bit.
Oh, we have.
Yes, this company does have local representation, and they've done work for the district for over the past 4 or 5 years. So they're reputable, and they're, being recommended.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Trevino. I move the board approve the ranking for selection of general contractor for competitive sealed proposal number 2025-1030, Theodore Roosevelt Elementary School Intercom System.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Aliceda and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0.
Madam President, I move that the board approve that administration begin with negotiations with the highest ranked contractor. If the district is unable to negotiate a satisfactory contract with a selected contractor, the district shall formally and in writing end negotiations with that contractor and proceed to the next contractor in the order of the selection ranking until a contract is reached or all proposals are rejected.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Kittleman and a second by trustee Regalado. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees authorize the superintendent to execute a contract in accordance with the procedure set out in Texas Government Code Section 2269.254 once contractor negotiations have been successfully achieved.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Regalado. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. Item 6C5, Discussion and possible action on request for proposals number 2025-1029, employee benefits and insurance consulting services. Dr. Gutierrez.
Administration solicited proposals for employee benefits and insurance consulting services. Ms. Karina Garza, coordinator for risk management, is available to answer any questions, as well as Mr. Andy Silva. We are recommending action on this item, and this is also a three-part action item.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve request for proposal number 2025-1029, employee benefits and insurance consulting services, and award Valley Risk Consulting, Inc. for a term of 3 years, commencing upon the date of contract execution.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Regalado. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay.
Nay.
Motion passes 3-0.
Madam President,
3-2.
I'm sorry, 3-2.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees approve that administration negotiate the draft contract with Valley Risk Consulting, Inc.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Regalado. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay.
Nay.
Motion passes 3-2.
Madam President, I move that the Board of Trustees authorize the superintendent to execute the contract and any amendments, if needed, once the contract has been successfully negotiated.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Rivera and a second by trustee Regalado. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay.
Nay.
Motion passes 3-2. Item 6D, Board of Trustees. Item 6D1, approval of Board of Education meeting minutes. Say that real fast. 6D1A, regular board meeting February 25th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. 6D1B, special board meeting February 27th, 2025. And 6D1C, board workshop March 4th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m.
I move we approve 61A, 61B, 61C.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Aliceda and a second by trustee Rivera. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. Item 6D2, discussion and possible action regarding the election of Region 1 Education Service Center Board of Directors. Dr. Gutierrez.
Yes, administration is recommending that each board member to cast individual ballots provided by Region 1 Education Service Center. The board should have those ballots on your desk for your votes.
Okay. 2 and 3. Lizzie gets one. Now, do we know how these were selected?
They apply with the Region 1 Service Center,
Okay.
and so their application is all done through Region 1. Region 1 forwards the candidates who applied and are interested to serve in the Board of Directors at Region 1, and our local boards vote on those candidates.
So I'm just going to read the ballot for the sake of the community. Region 1 Education Service Center ballot. Board of Directors official ballot 2025. Election of Board of Directors. Place 3, Webb County. There's only one person on there, Laura A. McCoy. And place 6, Cameron County. You have a choice between Dr. Manuel Gomez Jr. and Antonio G. Limon. And we will fill these out and then return them back over to Region 1.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, you can put them in the envelope and then we can give them to Natalie.
Okay.
Yep. Don't want to see. Don't want to see.
Top secret stuff, right?
Yeah.
The voting ballots. Congratulations to whoever gets elected across the board to serve as one of our Region 1 representatives. We shall know after Region 1 tallies them, huh?
That's correct.
Okay. Do we need to take action on that? Just voting on it?
No, because we are submitting those to Region 1.
Okay. And then we have item 7, recess to closed session. Board of Trustees may go into closed session pursuant to sections 551071, 551072, 551074, 551076, and 551089 Texas Government Code to discuss the following. 7A, Human Resources Recommendations for School Year 2024-25. 7B, Discussion of Human Resources, Employee Resignations, and Retirees for School Year 2024-2025. 7C, Discussion regarding school safety and security. 7D, pending and or potential litigation. 7E, possible real estate acquisition. At exactly 6:15, Dr. Canales, we are in closed session. Welcome back, everybody, at 6:38 PM. We are back in open session. We are going to go back to tabled item 5E. And do I have a motion?
Madam President, I move that the board approve the contract to retain outside legal counsel with the following amendment to the proposed contract with O'Hanlon, Demarath, and Castillo. On page 2 of the contract, section 3.2, billing increments, that be modified to read as follows. Time shall be billed in increments of 1/10 of an hour. The applicable hourly rate shall be applied based on the actual personnel performing the work. Additionally, the firm will work on increments of $20,000. Once that threshold is met, the firm will not continue work unless given prior authorization from the Board of Trustees.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Regalado and a second by trustee De La Garza Lopez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0. And action items in closed session. 9A, discussion and possible action of human resources recommendations for school year 2024-2025. Dr. Gutierrez.
Human Resources submitted a list of recommendations for the 24-25 school year on a separate cover for discussion during closed session. And Dr. Canales, Chief Human Resources Officer, will share any more information if the board has any questions. We are recommending action on this item.
Actually, Madam President, we had none this evening, so this is just for information purposes.
You are correct. Thank you, trustee Elisada. Item 9B, discussion of human resources employee resignations and retirees for school year 2024-2025. Dr. Gutierrez.
Human Resources submitted a list of resignations and retirees for the 24-25 school year under a separate cover for discussion during closed session. Dr. Canales, Chief Human Resources Officer, will share any more information. And this item is for information purposes only.
Thank you. Item 9C, discussion regarding school safety and security. No action taken. 9D, pending and potential litigation. Mr. Ball?
None to report.
Item 9E, possible real estate acquisition. Mr. Ball?
Same announcement.
We move on to item 10, scheduled meetings. Item 10A, board workshop, budget workshop number 3, March 24th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. at the Dr. Chapa Boardroom Administration Building. 10B, board workshop, student recognitions, March 27, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. at the McAllen High School Auditorium. Item 10C, special board meeting, a level 3 grievance on March 31st at 5:30 p.m. here at the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom Administration Building. 10D, special board meeting, level 3 grievance, March 31st, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. here at the Dr. Ricardo Chapa Boardroom Administration Building. 10E, regular board meeting, April 8th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. here at the Dr. Chapa Boardroom Administration Building. And 10F, board workshop, budget number 4, April 15th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. here at the Dr. Chapa Boardroom Administration Building. And item 11, adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by trustee Regalado and a second by trustee Aliceda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes 5-0 at 6:43 p.m. We are adjourned.